Let's talk about rates. FreightWaves sonar is the industry leader in supply chain data and intelligence. But it's not just about rates. So we're here to talk about what you can find in FreightWaves sonar, and specifically supply chain intelligence, and the rate data that FreightWaves sonar has for your business. Zach?
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about FreightWaves sonar and the rate data that we have.
Yeah, so sonar has access to over $200 billion of freight data. And inside of the platform that you see here is largely focused on the contract side. However, it is not limited to just contract rate data. In this particular product here, we're showing a market rate, which represents the aggregated average in a specific lane for the amount of contracted freight going on in that market or in that lane. But beyond that, we also have a lot of other data going along. We split out some of the rate data as well, as you'll see soon.
So you're telling me that we have a lot of rate data. I mean, everybody talks to companies that say they have a significant amount of rate data, right? The industry says we have $100 billion, or in our case, $200 billion in freight spend data, but it's not just about rates, is it, Zach?
No, it's not just about rates. And that is the biggest value add of what we offer here. So in the context of what we have provided behind us here, we have all sorts of other numbers. We have rate data, and then we have something called a lane score. And I'm going to primarily focus on the lane score here to just show you how much value this score adds to having a rate. So the rate, $2.92 a mile in the Salt Lake City to La Mirada lane. That doesn't mean that much by itself.
Not today.
You're looking at your benchmark rate. The rate that you have is $1.25. Okay, you're spending below the market average, but is that a good thing necessarily? So the lane score in this situation actually shows you that that is an okay thing. The lane score is a value from 1 to 100. Basically, think about it like this. The highest value lane, or the lane that's the most difficult to source capacity in, has the lowest number. So the value of 1 would indicate you need to focus a lot of priority and attention on that lane. This lane score is in the 70. So anything above about a 60 to 65 range tends to mean that that lane is extremely easy to source capacity in. So you combine that together here to figure out, okay, I'm paying below the market rate, but it's also a lane that if the market gets tighter, I shouldn't have a lot of trouble sourcing capacity.
Yeah, and especially right now, when everybody can source capacity at just about whatever rate they want, they also need to be thinking about the future, right?
Exactly. So, the market is going to go through ebbs and flows.
Yeah.
It gets very loose, it gets very tight. The lane scores are going to tell you exactly how to prioritize your sourcing efforts and energies, and also where to spend the money most effectively.
Right.
You definitely want to make sure that you're not at the bottom end of route guides in tighter times, and this is going to help you identify that. You can probably be towards the bottom edge of a route guide in the lane like this with a high lane score value.
Sure. Okay. And a lot of companies right now, they're resting a little bit. They recognize they took their lumps through COVID and all of the struggles, and now they're feeling pretty good about their supply chain. But how does a company leverage something like this to plan for the future, to think about what's next and how to reach out to their carriers to strengthen their overall logistics plan?
Yeah, so you have two options here. When you're looking at the lane scores and combined with your rates, you're going to either, one, try to go and build that relationship, strengthen the relationships, maybe the amount of relationships in a lane that has a relatively low lane score value. And then in a lane like this, you can prioritize cost savings and not feel too bad about it, risking service failures in the future.
Sure. And supply chain executives can also rest easy knowing that their transportation representatives and their agents are not just using gut feel based on their historical experience in the lane and that sort of thing.
Yeah, because this is based on recent rate data and recent trends in the underlying data and operational data.
Okay, and we're looking specifically here at contract rates, but the same can absolutely be said about our track spot rate data and looking at that on a day-to-day basis, trending all across the year.
Absolutely. So you can pair this with the spot rates and you get the exact same result.
Really? Okay. Awesome. Very cool. Thank you very much, Zach. I appreciate that.